So welcome again. This is the Simply Well Seniors Aging Well Seminar Series, the December version. November. I'm sorry. See, I'm already into Christmas. It looks like December, right? So
like December?
This will be our last seminar for this year. We take the month of December off, and we'll kick off again in January. And we have a few new sponsors coming up in January as well. So we're really excited. We'll be right back here in this spot as well. So just a few housekeeping items. The restroom is out this door, straight down and on your right. If anyone needs to get up, we also have a handout for everyone, a couple of different handouts. The slides, if you want to take notes. We have a couple of other handouts. We're talking about how to keep your home safe and those kind of things. You know, how to set up emergency contacts on your phone, as well as things to gather if you have to leave your house at the last minute. So have like a go bag, almost. A go bag, right? When it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Right. We also have we participated in a senior fair a few weeks ago at the Leominster Senior Center, and we put together a little giveaway. And it's soup and nuts. So some people tell us, "You guys take care of everything, soup to nuts." So, yeah, well, I guess we do. So if you wanted to take some soup and some nuts, that'd be fantastic. And Bill from Life Care Center also brought some goodies for us to nibble on this morning as well. So that's us. So we have some sponsors this year as well. And our pioneer sponsor is Heywood Wakefield Commons. I labeled it. And Christy Livingston is here this morning. Would you like to say a few words, Christy, and talk about your upcoming event?
Thank you. I'm Christy from Heywood Wakefield Commons in Gardner, an assisted living community. And yes, we have a very special event. If any of you missed last month's seminar with Kelly and Jeff on decluttering and downsizing, or if you felt it was so good you need to see it again, come to Heywood Wakefield Commons next Thursday, the 20th. We're going to host their seminar at our place, 5:30 p.m., and or you just want an excuse to come see Heywood Wakefield Commons, please join us. There are flyers on their table here in the back. And then I also brought some flyers for another event that you don't need to show up for. You just need to take a picture of yourself in your ugliest or cutest or most festive holiday sweater to be entered to win some gift cards to local businesses. So I've got some information in the back about that. A fun holiday event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's great.
Looking forward to that. So we're taking this show on the road to Gardner next week, and we're really looking forward to that. So make sure everyone brings a friend. We're also sponsored this year by the Gables Senior Living, and that's on John Fitch in Fitchburg. Patty Peterson's the marketing director there. Certainly reach out to her if you have a desire in taking a tour. Also, Michelle Morin with Lutheran Rehab, Skilled Care Center, and the Lillie Mansion. And this year, again, NXT Level Studios, and Keith, our videographer, and puts together the video that we put on YouTube every month, and also short clips for our sponsors they can use them on their social media as well. So this is what we do. This is our proven process. And you might be asking, hey, Jeff and Kelly, what have you been doing the last month? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we've been busy. Again, in November, we have 5 closings. We have 2 this week and 1 more at the end of the month, so it'll be a total of 5. One of our clients needed some help packing and moving, and during the process, someone broke a wrist. So Jeff drove to North Carolina, South Carolina, actually, to help with that. It's family of ours as well. So, but full service real estate, right? You know, get in the car and
they drove with a cat. So
and the cat,
2 guys and a cat drove 2 cars, and I took my sister-in-law for surgery and nursed her back to health. So we just got her on a plane on Monday. So those are the things that happen when you're downsizing, decluttering, and trying to do it all yourself. Accidents happen. And so it was unfortunate, but everybody's healthy. So
it all worked out. So
Yeah.
we got them where they needed to go.
Yeah.
And we keep seeing this over and over with folks in different situations, and you've lived in your house for a very long time. Things accumulate, and then when it's time to leave that house, the decision of what do you do with all the things that accumulated, and how to release them, how to let them go. It's not as easy as you might think. The people that we talk to, sometimes they start out with, "I'm taking everything." Okay, that's a great idea. Then it gets to, "Wow, I can't take everything because it costs too much to pack it all." And then it comes down to, "Do I really need all this stuff?" And then what we find when people really kind of have a mind shift, and that's what happens. They say, "I don't need this, and I'm going to live simpler. I'm going to live, if I need something, I'll just go get it. I don't need all these tools or whatever it is. Name whatever it is. I don't need all these tools and quilting equipment, those kind of things." But the mind shift happens, and we work through it with people, and we don't lecture them the first day we see them.
Or at all. We don't force it, but people do come to it themselves, which is really nice when it happens. And that happened with our brother-in-law and sister-in-law that we just moved. Since they were staying with us, since their house sold and they weren't able to go right away, both of them at different times by the end of their stay had another mind shift. And we heard it and we saw it. And they said, "We packed way too much stuff. When we get to South Carolina, we're going to downsize." After staying with us, in our house is simple, but not stark, I should say, but they both felt the peace of having a simplified home, and they both acknowledged it, and they felt encouraged to go and downsize what they had packed. So that was nice for us to see, because we had been telling them subtly, but really encouraging it. And they were like, "No, we're going to take everything." And
yeah, and it took a toll.
It took a toll on them. Yeah.
But they're there now, and they're safe. And it's a beautiful place. They're just below Myrtle Beach. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So it's beautiful. So today we're talking about home safety, and you folks that have been coming to the seminars on a regular basis, you're all living in a home that you've either been in for a very long time, or you're staying there, not in a community separate from your home. So this topic we think is very relevant. These are a lot of common sense kind of things, but today we're going to hopefully learn simple and effective ways to make your home a safer place to live, because that's where you've decided you're going to stay. So the first question that we have, and we'll just kind of start with a discussion starter. So does anyone have would anyone like to share a minor home safety issue that you've either encountered, or of something that someone encountered? Maybe you were on a step stool and you didn't quite step off it the right way. No. And a broken tailbone.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And you think I fell off a step stool a couple years ago, hanging curtains, and they're just so low. You think, how could I fall off that? But you do. And it's terrible. That's too bad. So things happen, things you do, everyday tasks, not even if you're doing something unusual. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So there's every time we ask this question, someone comes up with a story.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it is just that. It's about a fall.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be the, what's happening. Each year, millions of older adults, you fall. You're either, like you just said, you're just carrying the laundry from one room to the other. But what's amazing is that less than half wind up telling their doctor, because they don't want to bring attention to it.
Or their family member. They don't want to tell a daughter or a son because they're afraid that they'll say, "Okay, that's it. You can't live alone anymore," or "You can't drive anymore," or whatever. So they're afraid to lose independence. So they keep it quiet. But in the case of your friend who had a brain bleed, had she not hurt herself more, that broke something that made her go to the hospital, a brain bleed overnight can turn into death. So those are serious things. Even if you don't think you really hurt yourself, it's always good to tell somebody and to get checked out.
Mm-hmm. And what's surprising is falling once actually doubles your chance of falling again, because it might be due to like we just talked about. You're not picking your feet up as much. You're shuffling across the floor, and maybe it wasn't a problem, but this time it was. Or it might be a change in medication that you've changed, and things aren't quite what they were before.
Sometimes you're just so nervous because you did fall once that you're afraid to fall again. So you're walking differently, you're doing something different, and you're exaggerating. And it can throw you off.
Yeah. So those are things to watch out for. So we'll talk a little bit about, how to prevent those kinds of things. But getting back to creating a safe environment, here's some of the places that are easy to overlook. Slippery floors, like the one we have over there.
Yeah, the lady watered the plant this morning, and there's water on the floor. So
watch out over there.
So, things like that.
Yep.
You might not see it right away. Slide. In the grocery store a few years back, a friend of mine's mother was just doing groceries, and there was a grape that had fallen in the produce section, and she slipped on the grape. She ended up breaking her hip, cracking her head, ended up rehab, and she never ended up making it home. It was that traumatic, and she got pneumonia. So something as simple as that, wet grocery floor, store floor, to be careful.
Right. So slippery floors, if it's wet, wipe it up. Throw rugs are also a great tripping hazard. Mm-hmm. One of the houses that we're working on right now, there isn't an inch of the floor that doesn't have some kind of rug on it.
Yeah.
This house.
There's rugs on top of rugs.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff. They don't want the floor to get dirty, so they have these rugs everywhere. But or the plastic strips that you walk on, and it's a lot of trip hazards. So,
yep. So, watch where those throw rugs are. If you do have rugs, make sure that they're secure with non-step backing, and also wipe up spills so you don't have a slippery floor. Clutter in walkways. Clutter can also create obstacles that will lead to falls. Mm-hmm. I'm guilty of leaving my shoes on the stairs. That's where they go.
Yeah, on their way to go up, but then you forget they're there sometimes. So you have to watch out for that. And just we talked about this before: cases of water, packages of paper towels, things that are going to go down to the basement or upstairs or somewhere else. They're kind of in the way, and they're lower than eye level. So sometimes you don't see them, and they're in something that you could trip on. And
electrical cords. Some older homes, again, in the home that we're working with right now, there's not a lot of plugs. So they wind up running a lot of extension cords here, there, and everywhere. So you want to watch for that and secure those cords. And so keep floors, hallways, and stairs clear and secure those electric cords. And I'm just thinking of one in my head right now that we'll need to take care of when we get home. we don't have a lot of plugs in one of our bedrooms as well. So poor lighting. Again, sometimes in older homes, you don't have a lot of outlets, so you don't have a lot of lamps, so you don't have a lot of light. And that will, seem to lead to hazards. But
yeah. And even at nighttime, getting up to use the bathroom, sometimes people don't want to turn the light on because it will wake you up too much, and then you'll have trouble going back to sleep. So motion detector lights are often a good idea that they'll turn on when they sense you getting up to use the bathroom or to come down the stairs or something like that. So if you don't want to turn the big light on, there's a lot of good options on Amazon for motion sensor, easy plug-in lights.
Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about mobility and support. This gentleman looks very happy. He's straight up and down. He has a very secure walker beneath him. But these assistive devices, they need to be maintained as well. Canes and walkers, they provide stability, but also they need to make sure that they're being used properly and that they're sized properly as well for the person.
Yeah, sometimes when we're doing clean outs of houses, we find a lot of walkers, wheelchairs, commodes, all kinds of stuff that's very gently used or brand new. And we try to donate whatever we can. But every once in a while, we have 1 or 2 yard sales a year for the city of Leominster, where we live. And so if we have an accumulation of stuff that we couldn't donate, we'll put them out at the yard sale. But we're always cautious because someone will stop and say, oh, I need this walker for my mother, or I need this wheelchair for my aunt. And one of the biggest things are the walkers that have the seats in them, the 4 wheels and the seats. And everyone thinks this is the greatest thing. But we've seen more people when I worked as an occupational therapist fall using those walkers because they require the handbrakes to go down and really secure. And most of the time people are trying to lock it, turn, and sit at the same time. We see a lot of falls that way. So if you are going to be trying a device or using one, you should always have the recommendation of a physical therapist or an occupational therapist to fit you and properly train you on how to use it safely. Because even though you can pick one of these things up at a yard sale cheap, sometimes the cost of getting it is bad with the fall. Yeah,
exactly. And regular maintenance as well. The tips and the grips. So, like Kelly said, sometimes we'll see multiple, walkers or canes in a home, and it's because the grips and the the tips on the bottoms are worn out. But there are replacements for those. But it's like any other piece of equipment. You have to keep it maintained,
right,
and make sure it's working correctly. Any questions about that? That makes sense? Yeah. Okay. Good.
So again, most of this is general review, but it's good to go over it again because it's things you take for granted, don't always think of.
Right.
Fire safety.
Fire safety. One of the homes that we're working in right now hadn't been updated with smoke detectors in many, many years, probably 40, 50 years, maybe 40 years anyway.
Yeah. Well, some of them had been replaced, but they weren't original, but they hadn't been updated. And when we're selling houses, you have to have a fire inspection before you can close on the property. And they have to be replaced within the last 10 years, even if they have a battery backup. So most people have lived in their home a long time. You don't think, unless the alarm starts going off because the battery's dying, then you say, oh, I got to get a new battery. But otherwise, you don't replace them. So we're finding people aging in place. Their smoke detectors may not be working, or they might have unplugged one or taken it down because it kept going off and you were going to fix it later, but you didn't. So we like to remind people to think about updating those sooner than later.
Different communities have different requirements when you sell a home. In Fitchburg, any home that you're selling, no matter what the age it was built, all the fire alarms must be interconnected
and hardwired.
So that requires an electrician. In Lunenburg, it's a little different. You can have sealed battery combinations, smokes and COs. Gardner as well, depending on how old the home is, whether you have to bring it up. So, but if you're concerned, you can call your local fire department and they can do an inspection for you to see whether you're up to date or not. But some of the other places where you want to keep an eye out about fire safety, cooking safety, obviously. Never leave a stove unattended while cooking. I'm guilty. I turn it way low and I'm like, oh, it's done. I take it off. And then it's still on.
Forget to turn the burner off.
Right.
Yeah.
Candle safety. There's great flameless candles now that you don't even have to have anything with near flammable materials. And then, of course, going back to electrical safety, overloading outlets. If you don't have a lot of outlets in your home, sometimes you can get an extension cord with all kinds of things to plug it into.
Yeah.
But it's a 15 amp breaker on it.
Yeah.
And then also, those cords wear out as well. Certainly if it's someplace where, it's hidden underneath a rug or it's people are walking over. Absolutely. Those kind of things.
One thing I wanted to say about the cooking safety, I always think of this story. One time I was talking with a grandmother on the phone and I could hear her tea kettle whistling crazy in the background. And I said, oh, Gran, you're having some tea. And she said, yes, how did you know I was going to have some tea? And I'm like, I can hear your kettle. And she forgot that it was on, but it was really racing loud. She was hard of hearing, but things like that. And I've done it too. I've turned the tea kettle on, gone up to bring the laundry basket up, and then I start unloading the laundry basket, and then I start doing something else. And next thing I come downstairs and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I didn't put the whistle part down. I have it open. So it's not whistling, but it's really cooking. So it's scary.
So don't overlook the kitchen. That's where a lot of this fire safety needs to be practiced. Everything in the kitchen. Something we recently discovered was the American Red Cross will actually offers a service that they will install smoke detectors. You have to make an appointment for free. You have to make an appointment with them. I don't believe they'll pay for electrical work if it needs to be hardwired, but if
they're battery backup ones, they'll provide them and install them for free for seniors. Yep. So it's really a good service.
Great program.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about being prepared. Again, we talked about smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. Test those alarms on every level of your home, and test them monthly. They're saying test them monthly. I can't remember who it. Oh, it was Dom and Jeannie, because he swore that he just replaced those smokes and COs in the house. He said, "I know, I just replaced those."
Yeah, and you find out that was 4 years ago or 5 years ago. So you think you just did it, but you really didn't. Monthly is a bit much, especially if you have to stand up on a step stool to test them. But at least quarterly, or they say every time the clocks change, to do that, the time change.
Have a fire escape plan. We visited with a family recently. They told us a story of a home that they had lived in Lawrence 30 years ago. They had bought a home in Lawrence because it was affordable. At the time, Lawrence actually was having a program for first-time home buyers that made it affordable for them. So they moved into this house in Lawrence, and they did some upgrades and that kind of thing. And then they were reviewing their homeowners insurance with their insurance provider, and he had suggested, that you should probably go up on your coverage a little bit, because now you have some new things and, furniture and those kinds of things. And also you should probably, check your smoke detectors as well. So they did that. And it wasn't soon after that there was a fire, and they got out of the house because the smoke detectors went off, and they got out of the house, but it was a complete loss. Everything was
their kitchen light started sparking or something, and it caused a fire in the kitchen. They were sleeping, and they barely made it out with the kids and the animals, but they did. But they said, had they not had that insurance company call and say it was time to renew, they never would have done it, and they never would have updated their smoke detectors. So sometimes if you get that sense, like, I should do that, really act on it, because it's never too soon to make sure.
Right. So they, they had a way out of the house. The kids got out of the house. And that was, it was a very interesting story that they told us, because we were helping them move some other furniture, and they were telling us where the furniture came from 30 years ago. What they wound up having to do was go to Jordan's Furniture and buy new furniture. And
everything was destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah. And the insurance company, paid for it. So, emergency planning is essential for quick response, during critical situations. We know that, be prepared. Things happen. My mother says, "What if happens?" What if? Well, it does sometimes happen. Let's talk a little bit about medications and, some habits to be safe as well. Storage of medications. Keep medicines in original containers, of course, in a cool and dry place. When you take these medications out of their containers and you put them someplace else, and someone else is either trying to help you or you need some help and you don't know what they are. Well, what's this pill? I don't really remember what that one was. I'm not sure. But
it is more convenient to have a medicine planner sometimes to get your pills set up for the week. But in general, keep the remainder of the pills in the bottle labeled with what they are supposed to be, and as opposed to putting them all together, because it is easy to mix up. Pills look very similar, and they only have a little number on them. A lot of them are the same size and color, and it's easy to mix up taking too many or not enough of the right things.
That's right. So a pill organizer obviously can help, prevent those kinds of things. Check your expiration dates, the same as well. Maybe it's a medication you're taking on a regular basis. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about medications? Okay, great. Let's talk about bathrooms and kitchens. Talking about falls and whatever else happens in these. I just think of Donna and falling in the tub,
In the tub.
dislocating her hip.
Yeah.
But this chart. I'm not sure if you can see this chart completely, but at the top here is take high safety measures, and the bottom is taking low safety measures, and then over here on low hazard risk and high hazard risk. So bathroom hazards, wet floors, and clutters, that falls in the quadrant of take high safety measures because that's a high hazard risk. Wet floors, clutters in a bathroom, those kinds of things. That's where accidents happen. Something that you can reduce that hazard to make it a low hazard risk is put grab bars and have non-slip mats in the bathroom. So make it a safe place. Because that's where
being careful not to use towel racks. A lot of times you have a rack with your towel, but they're only meant to hold a towel. And if you're grabbing on that to get in and out of the shower, even if it works for right now, eventually one of these days it's not. So really having the grab bars installed by a professional carpenter or handyman that gets them in the studs and they're really secure so that you can use them to get up and down.
Kitchen scalding hazards, hot liquids. If your hot water heater or your furnace is set too high, you could have some scalding risk as well. But it's easy to adjust that and keep that safe. So have safe temperature controls on your furnace, on your hot water heater. Those are easy things to do. Set your water heater at 120 degrees to prevent scalds. And again, some of these older homes that we see, you have to have the hot water up high so it can get to the bathroom upstairs, so you don't have a cold shower by the time you're getting to it. But those are just some examples. Okay, any questions about that? Anything else you want to say about that? No? Yes, set your hot water heater at 120 degrees. Okay. So making a few simple changes, have a huge impact on your safety and peace of mind. So what's one small change that maybe some of you might plan this coming week or you're thinking of potentially? Anybody?
That's good. Decluttering is good. That helps overall with safety.
That does.
Yeah.
So we talked about preparing an emergency kit.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency kit with water, flashlight, first aid supplies. We're pretty lucky here in Leominster. We don't lose power very often. Although when the high winds were a couple weeks ago, that skipped a little bit. Yeah. But we have a handout for you that on the top of it says everyday items to add to your gather at last minute list. So this talks about prescriptions, your driver's license, make sure that's handy, your good walking shoes, phones and charging cables. Your phone is important to grab, but if you don't have a way to charge it, you might only get half a day out of that.
Yeah, this list is kind of for a few things. Emergency, if you were to have a bad snowstorm, power lost, and you had to evacuate your home for some reason, just to kind of have things gathered somewhere close by so you could get this if you had to leave quickly versus trying to think, oh, I have to get this and I have to get that. In the case of the people with the fire, you don't have time to get anything. So you need to, when there's a fire, you need to just get out. And even if you had this bag packed, you might not be able to access it. But trying to at least know that you have things somewhat together, maybe duplicates of a few things so that you could just grab a bag in the closet. God forbid you fall and you're going to the hospital in the middle of the night and you need a few items. You need your medication list so you can tell the EMT drivers, things like that, to have things available and nearby so that you could grab them at a moment's notice.
Mm-hmm. Whoops, sorry. It's also important to personalize with medications and have emergency contacts. So if someone has to come into your home, they know who the emergency contacts are. Actually, our neighbor just asked me earlier this week to help her install a key lock box on the front of her home because she's widowed, and if God forbid anyone has to get into that house, because she has a medical emergency or something, then someone has a way to get in there. So she's thinking about those kinds of things. She asked if we could be some of those people that would have that code to allow to get someone in there if she needed some help. I said, absolutely. So, so we're ready to help as well. But to have those emergency contacts so people know, and also please let the emergency contact know that you've listed them if somebody's calling, so you pick up the phone, those kinds of things. So we went through a lot of really common sense kind of things. We also have a handout about how to set up that emergency contact on your smartphone. So, if you ever needed someone to dial that, that's an easy way to do that. You can have your medical information there.
Yeah, it's called ICE, and it's on your either on an Android or an Apple phone, and it's ICE stands for in case of emergency. And it's if you were in a car accident or you were unconscious, someone came across you, they could access this ICE contact on your phone, even if your phone's locked out. Because sometimes we have to put either a Face ID or a code to open up our screen on our phone. This would allow anybody to get that contact information on your phone if you have it set up. It allows them to call your daughter, your son, your neighbor, any person that you appointed to be your emergency person. So it's a little bit extra peace of mind, because how many times I know I've run out to the store before and not brought a pocketbook or have my full wallet. I might just have my phone, or I might have no other real information on me. And so it's really good to have that. And most of us do travel most everywhere with our phones, it seems, these days. So at least if you have your phone, that information would be in there.
Right. It's good points. So that's about all we have today. It was, kind of an abbreviated, version of this, just talking about some really practical tips, those kind of things. We're really excited about next year and about the lineup of seminar topics that we're going to be discussing and those kind of things. In January, we've developed a program called Should I Stay or Should I Go? Choosing to age in place or move to alternative housing, and exploring the strategies on how to get there and what kind of decisions, get made and what kind of things to consider. If you should stay where you are, or if you should modify what you're doing, or those kind of things.
Yeah, and that one's more geared towards the really early phases of making that decision, not the actual, these are the assisted living options and where you can go. We're going to be doing that later in the year, but this is just to start you turning to think about the questions you might want to ask and how to take the first step or steps to think about that next process. So we're going to really break it down. And this is one we haven't done before, but it's what we do every day with our clients. And we thought if we really broke it down and to make it more tangible steps for people to start thinking about it, it could be a 1 year, a 3 year, or even a 5 year plan. But just to get you in the mindset of, okay, this is what this could look like.
Exactly. Right. Not waiting for that event necessarily to happen.
Right.
In February, we're going to present, why you may need a care manager and what that looks like and what a care manager can do and help you manage the senior care, journey that folks have. So we have a couple of folks that we're going to have a panel, and a couple of folks are going to talk a little bit more about that and what that's all about. We do find that the care managers that we've worked with that have referred us and we've referred them are just, they're integral to people's lives. Certainly after coming out of rehab, or maybe someone doesn't have family that's close, or those kind of things, but just to manage everything that's going on, that can happen. So they're, really compassionate kind of people. We also have a seminar that we're going to do later in the year about ADUs, assisted dwelling. The new law has gone into effect in Massachusetts that you can build an additional unit on your property by right. So, obviously he has to follow some, the guidelines, that kind of thing, the setbacks and those kind of things. So we have a gentleman that we met, and actually he represents a company that has prefab ADUs. And, 900 square feet, 800 square feet, whatever have you.
And some a little bit bigger.
Some a little bit bigger. So we're hoping to invite also the building inspector here in Leominster, who's a great guy, and talk about what that looks like.
And a lender who's a mortgage lender has some really creative ways to finance some of these things. And so he's going to be part of our panel for that session as well. So between the two of them, figuring out creative ways to do it and having the accessory dwelling unit, it opens a lot of options for families who want to age in place and be in the same vicinity as their children or another family member. So it's a really nice option.
So it's some good options. Oh, it's just a term.
Oh, GPS, like if you have a GPS on your phone, like it's your directory. So it's the GPS for senior care. Yeah.
Just guiding for senior care. So, and we have some great sponsors coming on next year. Life Care Centers of Leominster coming on
in the Highlands, yeah,
as well.
Yeah, and Senior Helpers, Amma from Senior Helpers in Fitchburg. They do home care services, so they're going to be coming in and sponsoring us as well. So we're excited about that.
Yep. And Sunrise of Leominster also coming on board.
Yes.
We're very excited about them as well. And we'll have another panel of the assisted living options next year. As well, we'll have another panel about estate planning and wills and trusts, as well, and some other surprises.
We've just narrowed down our list. We've given it site person, so she's going to be listing all the seminars online, but we have a lot of good ones this year. A few repeats that were really popular, but we wanted to offer some new classes since this will be our third year doing this seminar. Our ask from everybody is to try to get more people in the room. We'd love to see more folks here. We're doing our best to try to do that, but I think with the new sponsors coming on and just telling word of mouth, telling friends, hopefully we'll get more people here.
So we'll be around afterwards as well to chit chat, but we appreciate all of your support.
Yes.
All this year. And we look forward to seeing you again next year.
Don't forget your soup to nuts can baggies. Take one or two home and enjoy them. And thanks so much.
Thank you.